Well, the campaign originally started back in 2009, and I petitioned to get body confidence put on the national curriculum just for 1 hour a year, a part of an already existing syllabus, which is the PSHE. And we had an amazing response, an online petition, got over 50,000 signatures. Lynn Featherstone was backing us, and she basically got us into the House of Parliament. We finally got to see Ed Balls, who at the time was the Minister of Education, and he basically loved what we did. I taught a masterclass or a body confidence class in a school in Guildford, and we recorded it. I took it in and showed him and saw the results, and he absolutely loved it and backed it. And then of course the general election, and so the coalition government came in, and we've had to basically start again. And since then, Michael Gove, who is now the Minister of Education, I'm sure you know, we've been trying to see him and contact him and say, can we get a meeting with you? And we haven't been able to get him to see him yet. And we're running out of time, basically. So we've kind of carried the movement going, and we are now, instead of going for an online petition, we've changed it slightly where we're trying to get all the schools in the country to back it. If your school believes that you should have body confidence taught on your national curriculum, then back this campaign. And it all kind of climaxes next Thursday, where I am taking 10 amazing teachers and 100 even more amazing students down to the House of Parliament, and I'm going to be hosting a very, very large 100-student body confidence lesson on the grounds just outside of Parliament. And then after that, the 12 teenagers that I'm working with at the moment, whose stories they've allowed me to film and get involved with, we're going into the Parliament afterwards to talk to the MPs and just to tell them how important this campaign is. So that's where we are up to at the moment, and this is where I need your help from you guys, to let all of your amazing fans and people, and I suppose they're readers, aren't they?
Yes.
Your readers,
yeah.
to get involved with it as well, get their schools to back it.
Yeah, definitely. I'm sure they will. So what is the difference between a teenager that does have body confidence to one that doesn't? Why is this so important?
Do you know what? I've never met a single adult, let alone a single teenager, that actually has body confidence.
Yeah.
And this is the problem. I've met teenagers with varying degrees of body confidence, some of them from very, very low-level body dysmorphia all the way through to teenagers that are, self-harmed, eating disorders, and blah, blah, blah. And I think that, the teenagers are very delicate. We are surrounded by images of perfection in the press. We are surrounded by information being said to us that we have to look a certain way. 1 minute you're too fat, the next minute you're too small, and then all the plastic surgery debates as well, all the debates on airbrushing and retouching. And I think basically what happens is all of us adults are very confused about what we should look like. All of us are very confused about what we think is beautiful, and that has now fed into the teenagers. And for me, what's really, really important by this is that the children have some balance. So they can be exposed to these images, and they can be, they can see all the TV programs about, plastic surgery, blah, 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 all that kind of stuff. But at the same time, we have to put some balance in there, and we have to allow them to see that there is an option. They don't necessarily have to go down that route, and I think what it will do is improve their self-worth and their self-being.
Yeah, definitely. You've spoken in the past yourself about having body confidence issues as a teen. What did you do to get through that? Obviously, you're very confident.
That was the problem. I didn't at all. I mean, unfortunately, my lack of body confidence and my body dysmorphia, my obesity as well, led and climaxed when I was 21 into a very severe eating disorder. And so through illness, I suppose, it became my medicine, and it was absolutely not the right way of dealing with it at all, but it was what I did. I think to myself now, hindsight's very powerful, but I think to myself now, if I was taught about body confidence when I was at school, I think I probably could have avoided going through a year of very severe anorexia, which led on to about 10 years of trying to come out of that. If we can affect one child in the UK, but they don't have to go through that through this campaign, then I think it's worth doing. And I think it's absolutely worth debating with the politicians to see whether we can get it done or not. So that's how I did mine.
Yeah, so this is very frustrating because it is a really, really vital thing. Why isn't more being done at the moment?
I think nobody's really campaigned about it. I think that there's a lack of money in education. Teachers are already overloaded with the amount of work that they need to do. The syllabuses are really, really filled. Our student grades aren't the best they've ever been, and students are, on average, not getting great grades in other areas. But I think that this is just as important as English and maths. And I think that I don't think anyone's really stood up before and said, hold on a second, we need to look at this. We need to look at whether we do need to have this on the syllabus or not, up until now. And so I think that's been what it is. And I think it's also about awareness, because, you know, a lot of parents out there have got children, and I think unless the children are going back and expressing their concerns about their education, expressing concerns about who they are, they're not telling their parents, and parents aren't aware of this either. Every single parent I've spoken to about this campaign has backed it and said, my God, if I had this when I was at school, it would have helped me. I want my children to have this as well. The teachers are doing it as well. You know, we do have a lack of communication between education and homes, and I think that we need to be discussing all this stuff, and we need to be letting parents aware that there is a service that should be available, and the children should be aware that they can ask for this as well.
Okay. And finally, if you could just give one piece of advice to a teen who is having confidence issues, whether it be, I don't know, a girl who's too small boobs and now too big, or a guy who's feeling too lanky, if there's one thing that you could tell them, what would it be?
I think, you know, it's quite an age-old thing, and it's going to sound like a cliche, but I think it's very, very important, which is the fact that we need to become a nation, and we need to become a world that really does celebrate bodies in different shapes and sizes, that we all are very unique, and we are very, very different. And I think that what we need to also realise is regardless of the size of our breasts, or how tall we are, or how overweight we are, what we need to do is we need to have a healthy perception when we look in the mirror. We need to be able to recognise our bodies and accept some of it, not all of it, because I know that that's probably verging on the impossible, but we need to have that healthy response to that and know that we have a voice and we can talk about it. Having a body confidence hour once a year, giving every single student an opportunity to discuss how they feel about their bodies, or hear other students discuss it as well, I think will help improve that incredibly. And so that would be my advice, which is find your voice and realise that you are unique.
Yeah, well, I know definitely myself and Sugarscape are all behind that.
Good.
So, yes, thank you
Brilliant.
very much.
Thank you so much.
Great campaign.
Thank you. I look forward to reading it. Thank you.